reigning, defending IBF champion from Brooklyn, New York, the Takeover, Teofimo Lopez. He is the reigning and defending WBC, WBO, WBA, and Ring Magazine Unified Lightweight Champion of the World from Ackerman, Ukraine, Vasyl Lomachenko.
This is the one that we've been waiting for. The boxing world is buzzing about this Saturday's fight between Teofimo Lopez and Vasyl Lomachenko. I like even saying that. It even sounds good. But I have a question for you. It was to get this thing going. Is this a super fight? Can you have a super fight on ESPN?
Fights go. It's about as close as we're going to get on broadcast television for a super fight. I mean, this is a great hands up, one-on-one, best against the best type fight, unification battle. You can't get too much better than that.
And everyone's excited to see what's this young kid going to do with Lomachenko. That's the biggest hype. When it has a background to it, it definitely makes it a super fight.
It was a good matchup, and I thought it was something that the boxing fans needed to see. And I think that it's not a super fight, but it's super important. And it's super marketing by Bob Arum to put it on ESPN to whet our appetites for what's to come down the road. So I applaud him for doing all of that.
It makes Teofimo Lopez such an exciting fighter.
I've seen, being a young guy, he's a heavy-handed puncher. His ability to lay traps. He lets you know the art of boxing is still around. I think because of his age, he's kind of still underrated. This is a good test for him. He's not predictable. I think that's another thing that makes him, a really good up and coming young guy.
Do you think that they're rushing Lopez to fight Lomachenko? Do you think he's ready for this moment?
Reminds me a little bit, Cole, of when Mayweather fought Alvarez back in 2013. Mayweather was obviously, he was on top, he had been around, and here comes a young lion in Canelo Alvarez to challenge him, undefeated, much bigger, and he uses speed and quickness and his knowledge to just take Canelo apart. And I think that that's probably the blueprint for what's going to happen on Saturday night.
Okay, good point. I like that. I like all that.
Also remember, Lomachenko gave up $1 million of his own purse to make this fight. So that tells me everything I need to know.
What makes Lomachenko this pound for pound kind of machine?
Having a chance to watch him up close when he came to the MGM National Harbor Arena back in April, I think it was in 2018 or so. He really just showed me a lot of ability. And if you look at his one-loss record, he's only had really two tough fights. The one fight he lost in the second pro fight against Orlando Salido, and the majority decision he won against Gary Russell Jr. Every other fight he's had, he either stopped the opponent or won by wide unanimous decision. So, I mean, in Salido fight, he lost by split decision. So, I just think his overall ability, it's been a long time since I've seen a guy at that weight with the overall ability that Lomachenko has. And I don't know if Lopez has seen that before.
I even wrote this down. I wrote down Salido, Gary Russell Jr., Axeman, Rigondeaux, Linares, Pedraza, Campbell.
When it comes to IQs, you have to compare the IQ of Lomachenko with his level competition against the IQ of the level competition that Lopez has coming into this fight. And we talking about different uses of IQs when you have to fight against some top level guys that has just as good an ring IQ as you do coming into the ring, which Lomachenko had. And Lopez's opponents didn't have that coming into the ring. They were some okay guys, but not at the level that Lomachenko's faced with all his opponents.
It's that time of our presentation. You get to tell me, you break it down, who's going to win the fight between Lopez and Lomachenko.
I just think Lomachenko has too much ability. Discombobulating Jones and Blogger Guy, they've talked about the overall quality opposition. That's definitely a factor. And I just think overall ability is on Lomachenko's side. I'm going Lomachenko by maybe a 10th, 11th round knockout.
The styles being what they are, styles make fights. If somebody coming straight ahead, they're there to be hit. That's where Lopez power comes into play. But somebody that's going to give them angles all night long, going to turn them, going to counter punch them, I think he's going to get frustrated. So again, I'm going to stick with Lomachenko because he has bigger fish to fry, or maybe bigger fish to get fried by down the road. So he can't afford to slip up against this up-and-coming guy.
Let me add on to what Discombobulating Jones said, because I happen to agree with him. I think at the end of the night, young boy is he's gonna be on the wrong end of a high-tech ass whipping. I think Lomachenko's IQ and just maturity and ring experience and ring generalship is going to be too much for that boy to deal with in this unification bout. I just do.
Now, Eric, I get the feeling that you like Teofimo. Is that did I kind of get that feeling correct?
I do,
or
man.
am I misreading the situation?
No, I you know what? I like the young boy. No diss to Lomachenko. This one I'm gonna go with the young guy, only because the pressure's on, man. I think he's ready to step up. I think it's gonna be a great test for him. He's gonna show that he's mature. So if he does get an ass whipping like Tracy says, hey, it'd be a good ass whipping. But again, I think the later rounds will be the key. His ring IQ, his youth, and being able to cut off the ring will be his advantage in the late rounds. That's how I see it.
It's going to be a battle of who uses the best offense off his defense. And that's the thing where Lomachenko, he's a guy who can use angles. He's solid all the way around the board and has power. You know, and what frightens me about with Lopez, he's a kid with power, but he sometimes that over aggressive power can mess around and get him caught.
That's all I'm saying.
Yep, and that's almost like I'd rather be in an aircraft carrier and then just a regular battleship. The aircraft carrier, I got all kinds of arsenals on that thing. I can send everything at you.
Right.
You know, because just that battleship, you run out of ammunition, you're dead in the water.
I like Lomachenko. And I like Lomachenko a little bit late. I think Teofimo is going to chase him, and he's going to find him. And once he finds him, he's going to wish he hadn't chased him. All right. So,
Hey, Joe.
Now, here's the thing. Let me make a caveat. Would I be surprised if Lopez put Lomachenko on his butt? Would not be surprised at all. However, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to take Lomachenko.